Coming up, we got a wild one for you, a crazy rock story. We're talking code words and mystery lyrics, a decades-long feud with a rival band, sweet stolen dance moves, there's the parting of the Red Sea, and yeah, there's also the most controversial fish in all of music video history. Somehow, all this is connected to one amazing song. A song so legendary, in fact, that it's even in the name. We'll get into this song's riddle-like lyrics that refer to the word it throughout the song. So what or who is it? Well, let's find out. This song came right after they fired their singer. New singer came right in and wrote the lyrics of this band's killer riff. And they knew it was a hit, but the record label didn't care. They chose the band's first single, and when that flopped, they told them, you can choose whatever you want as your next single, we don't care. It not only ignited this band's fortunes, some argue it invented a whole new genre. But so many styles were represented in this song. I mean, they had everything in it, even the kitchen sink. The story's coming up next on Professor of Rock. Hey, music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. Especially today. You know, if you remember those cheesy after-school specials when you were growing up, you're going to dig this channel of deep musical nostalgia. Make sure to subscribe below right now. The red button, click that one, click the bell so you always know when our stuff's coming out. Also, check us out on Patreon. We're putting up full interviews there, and you can become an honorary producer to help us curate this great music history. So it's time for another edition of our series, Bottle Lightning. This is where we celebrate a song or an album that was king for a day or for many days. Here we honor artists and bands that rocketed up the charts, but for reasons unknown, weren't able to sustain that success. Many of them call them one-hit wonders, but we celebrate them instead as lightning in a bottle. For today's track, it is a doozy. It's Epic by Faith No More. Now, calling this one a Bottle Lightning entry is a little controversial because this band goes well beyond hit songs. But here in the States, Epic was actually their only mainstream hit. Let's get into the story. In the 80s, a group of musicians going by the name Sharp Young Men, then Faith No Man, got their start in California. These guys were among the first bands to experiment with a fusion of funk, thrash, and hardcore styles. The band included drummer Mike Borden, bassist Billy Gould, vocalist Mike the Man Morris, and keyboardist Wade Worthington. Shortly after, Worthington was replaced by keyboardist Roddy Bottum, and Mike Morris was booted from the crew as well. And then they started going by the moniker Faith No More. So after going through a litany of singers, including Courtney Love, yeah, that Courtney Love, the guys enlisted frontman Chuck Mosely in 1983. That same year, the revolving lineup continued to spin as Jim Martin replaced Mark Bowen on guitar. In 1984, the band recorded a 4-song demo tape, which led to the band's first real album, We Care a Lot. That was released on Mortem Records in 1985. Within a year, the band signed up with Slash Records, who was distributed by Warner Brothers. Then in 1987, Faith No More released their second album, Introduce Yourself. But unfortunately for Chuck Mosely, it would be his last with the group. Said Mike Borden, and I quote, "Once we finished Introduce Yourself with Chuck, we knew we went as far as we could go with him. We knew we had to make a change. We felt we weren't at the potential that we felt that we could be working at. We had to do it. We had no choice." The band would cite multiple infractions against Mosely. His constant drinking, his infighting with bandmates, and a limited vocal range, that didn't help either. Filling the void was one Mike Patton, frontman of fellow California band Mr. Bungle. Patton was hired in January of 1989 and proved to be a high-energy, versatile singer. Just exactly what they were looking for. Patton joined Faith No More while their third album, The Real Thing, was already coming to fruition. It was already in progress. So with most of the songs written musically, his contributions were primarily lyrical. And notably, one of those contributions stood out above all the rest, both for the band and for the masses. That song, of course, was Epic. And although the word epic is never mentioned in the lyrics, this track more than lives up to its title, to its name. blending funk and metal and hardcore and rap and even classical music. It gives us all the essential elements of Faith No More that we all love. Talking about the inspiration for the song, Bill said, and I quote, "We just fired our singer and it was a song that was pretty spontaneous. Actually, it was like the release that came with losing Chuck. I think with a lot of our albums, most of the inspiration comes with the relief of losing a member that's too painful to keep. It's like a sword that finally breaks, a storm that finally comes in." Added Borden, "Bill and I wrote the groove, the rhythm for Epic. We knew it was cool and it was good and it was fun and it was natural. We'd played it and said, wow, that's just so massive. It's just this huge, broad, wide, open, powerful thing. It's epic." Actually, Bill called Epic code word for the song because it was so grandiose, so cinematic. It was like the parting of the Red Sea. Patton, who penned the enigmatic lyrics about a week after he joined the band, continually alludes to it throughout the song, right? The bridge consisting of the band shouting in, call and response style, "What is it?" and "It's it." I mean, we've all speculated what it is if you know anything about this song. I've heard people argue for everything from sex to drugs to religion, everything. The it riddle is really a conundrum of the turn of the 80s into the 90s. But it's definitely an unattainable something, be it power, love, or faith. Mike never explains what it is in the song. However, he has given some insight into the song's meanings, in interviews that he's done. For example, in 1990, he simply said, "It's about sexual frustration, sex and lack of sex." Elaborating, he also said in another interview, Epic is sort of a warped sexual state of mind. It deals with more material and physical things like sex. The song kind of teases you, but is frustrated at the same time because the song wants it too. But at the same time, he knows that it can't have it. Ultimately, though, as a listener, it is whatever you want it to be, whatever resonates with you. That's the genius of these ambiguous lyrics. It can be anything depending on your interpretation. Driving the point home, Patton said in 2000, "Believe it or not, Epic was my first attempt at impersonating Blondie's Rapture. Lyrically, I was more concerned with the rhyme scheme than any other constant train of thought. The lyrics mean whatever you want them to mean. They don't belong to me anymore. They're your responsibility now." I love that. And the song is truly so epic, they knew they had a hit. Said Mike Patton back in the day, and I quote exactly, "Of course I knew straight away it would be a hit. I already had a down payment on the Bentley and the Bachelor Pad and Paso Robles. However, I realized it wasn't an international smash when my speed dealer wouldn't even let me score on credit." He would also go on to say, "Did Epic spawn rap metal? Even if it did, I wouldn't tell you. Then again, the rest of the world seems to feel that way, so I suppose apologies are in order. Okay, I'm sorry." One of the precursors for sure. As we continue to break down the song, I do want to thank our sponsor, Zenni Eyewear, the glasses I always wear on here. As we thrive here in the new year, it's a perfect time to upgrade your look with Zenni. They have so many styles and colors and shapes to choose from. You can design your own look and see how you look before you buy. The price, of course, hard to believe. A complete pair of prescription glasses starting at just $6.95. Click on our link right up here to get yours today. Epic is without a doubt the song that took Faith No More from the underground to the mainstream. However, it didn't get off to a very strong start in America, actually. After the Real Things lead single from Out of Nowhere, after that completely bombed, Slash Records lost faith in Faith No More. According to Billy Gould, they were about to give up on the band. So not really caring anymore, Slash, as a last resort, opted to let Faith No More choose the next single themselves. As Billy would explain, and I quote, "At the time, Epic was our favorite song on the album, but no one from the record label seemed too interested in it. In fact, we'd done a video for From Out of Nowhere, which didn't get much traction at all, and the label told us, hey guys, the album didn't work. We'll do one more music video for you, whatever song you want, you pick it. So we picked Epic. We had very little expectations of it becoming a commercial hit. But actually from there, Epic failed to accrue much attention on the airwaves and on MTV. Actually, MTV reportedly scrapped the video after just 2 plays. It wasn't until Epic was released in the UK and Europe in early 1990 that the song started to build any momentum. After catching an inspired performance by the band in London in February of 1990, Warner Brothers executive Randy Skinner insisted Slash give Faith No More a renewed promotional push. This included getting Epic back onto MTV. Meanwhile, that same week, Epic broke into the UK charts at number 37. It went all the way up to number 25. But it was Epic's wider international success that really sealed the deal. The song started to catch fire in Australia and New Zealand, where it went to number 1 and number 2 respectively. And by May of 1990, both US radio and MTV began to take notice, the latter of which finally put them over the edge in America. I mean, once MTV started playing Epic 5 times a day, it was truly in the bag. So let's talk about the video. Chock full of bizarre and eye-catching imagery, including surreal shots of floating hands with eyeballs, guitar lightning strikes, and an exploding piano finale. There's also the fact that the band plays their way through a torrential downpour. It's really cool. And then there's that unforgettable, controversial fish scene. For those of you who don't remember, the video ends with a fish out of water flopping around on top of a piano, as keyboardist Roddy Bottum plays the song's, classical outro. The fish scene actually garnered some bad publicity for the band, and it spawned at least one urban legend that I can tell you. That urban legend is that the fish belonged to Bjork. Supposedly, the band stole it from her at a party and let it flop to its death on top of the piano. I mean, animal rights activists were pissed. They were livid about this music video and the fish. The truth, however, is less dramatic, unfortunately. Rather, the band has stated that they bought the fish, and other fish just like it, at a pet store that was around the corner from the studio. The video's director, Ralph Simon, had this to say about it. The record company, they'd phoned us on very short notice and they asked us to do a music video. I just made a list of things I thought we could do. Exploding a piano, a fish flopping around. I mean, we literally had one day to pre-produce it. We shot that in London in some studios next to the tour venue. We wound up letting that fish go into the river, when we were finished filming. We had a couple of them. We'd let them flop around and then we'd swap it over and we'd shoot another one. So in theory, we're just talking about traumatizing fish and not actual piscicide. That's the fish version of homicide. I had to look that one up. With Epic's video in heavy rotation on MTV, Faith No More soon cracked the top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100. Actually peaked at number 9 on September 8th, 1990. Epic also went to number 7 on the Cashbox chart, and it went to number 25 on the US mainstream rock chart. But the success of Epic, that brought out kind of a weird rivalry with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So I guess Anthony Kiedis called out Mike Patton for ripping off his funky dance moves in the Epic music video. Specifically in an interview with a magazine at the time, Kiedis said, and I quote, "My drummer says he's going to kidnap Mike Patton, shave his hair off, and cut off one of his feet, just so he'll be forced to find a style of his own." Actually, in the Peppers biography, by the way, Kiedis also said this about it. "I watched their Epic video and I see him jumping up and down, rapping, and it looked like I was looking in a mirror. The thing is, I had no problem with him personally. I mean, I love The Real Thing, and I liked his vocals on that record. But when I saw that video, it was like, wait a second here." And actually, there's a lot more weirdness that followed, including accusations of the Peppers sabotaging Faith No More throughout the 90s into the new millennium. That's actually a story for another day. Let me know if we should cover it. When Mike Patton finally addressed the Kiedis allegations of sweet dance move thievery, he said, "You know what, it doesn't bother me a bit. I got a real big kick out of this, and to tell you the truth, he's going to talk about me in interviews, that's fine. I mean, it's free press. Either he's feeling inadequate or old or I don't know, but I have no reason to talk shit about him." So there you go. Regardless of fish controversies and copycat accusations, the real thing, it was a runaway success, certifying platinum in the US, and it ranked number 11 on the Billboard 200. And Faith No More, along with the Black Crowes, started to muck up pop radio way before the Seattle Four, redefining rock in this process. And while it's true that other 80s bands had experimented with mixing genres, hip-hop, rap outfit meets metal band crossovers, and they definitely existed before Epic, Faith No More didn't really mean to do this. Instead, they successfully wrote a phenomenal song which fed off their combined influences of funk and hip-hop and metal and rap and just fused them all together naturally. And plus, again, they added a little classical music for good measure. I mean, after Epic changed the landscape on pop radio, it would be their only hit in America, unfortunately. Following Epic, Faith No More released their third single from The Real Thing, Falling to Pieces. This one took a significant tumble down the Hot 100. It went to number 92, and on the US mainstream rock chart, it did go top 40 though. The album's next single, Surprise Your Dad and Edge of the World, both failed to chart. And then jumping ahead to 1992's Angel Dust, the record's lead single, Midlife Crisis, went to number 1 on the US alternative chart, but it was a no-show on the Hot 100. After that, the record's next two singles failed to breach the Hot 100 as well, and then Angel Dust's fourth single, Easy, that made a return to the chart. That sold at number 58. It's actually a cover of the Lionel Richie song. Very cool. Easy like Sunday morning, yeah. The band has released 10 plus singles since then, and none have landed on the Hot 100. And nothing from Faith No More's catalog has even come close to replicating Epic's success here. Doesn't really matter, though. It's an amazing band. It's hard to believe it's been 30 plus years since the release of Epic. And, there's no way you can talk about Faith No More without talking about this groundbreaking song. Just the defining moment in their career. Understandably, members of Faith No More have had a lot to say about their love-hate relationship with this song. I mean, it's a double-edged sword for sure, but you can't deny it. It's one of those songs that everybody talks about. Nirvana Smells Like Teen Spirit. I would put Epic right there as one of those songs that blew everything up. The band has said that, playing it live is sometimes a chore. Bill Gould has said, and I quote, "It seems sometimes kids turn up just to hear that one song. We're like, stick around. We've written all these other great songs. You just might like them." But Epic is where it all started for most of Faith No More's fans. Even ultra F&M fans have to concede you can't help but love this song. Like I said before, it slaughtered mainstream pop radio. There was nothing like it on the radio. It was nominated for Best Hard Rock Performance at the Grammys, Best Heavy Metal Hard Rock Video at the MTV Awards in the same year. It was ranked number 31 on VH1's 40 Greatest Metal Songs Ever. Then number 67 on their 100 Greatest One-Hit Wonders list, which is a tragedy. In 2009, it was named the 54th Best Hard Rock Song of All Time, also by VH1. And then in 2009, it charted number 46 on the largest music poll in the world, Triple J's Hottest 100 of all time. It's been decades since its release, and its impact is still being felt. And I tell you what, Faith No More's song, the title, it's exactly as advertised. How often does that happen? Hey, thanks so much for watching. Leave us a comment about Faith No More and Epic. What are your memories of this song? Man, I remember the first time I heard it. Oh man, it cut me in two. Let me know of your first experience of hearing it, seeing the video. Let's talk about this band, their other great songs. If you like our content, we invite you to subscribe below. We'd love to have you as part of our community. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends.